Hey there, Lindsay here, the Frugal Crafter, along with my friend Kathy.
Hi all.
Here for another Ask a Crafter, week 26. Wow.
Ready.
Holy moly. And we have exciting news. We're on Facebook. Yay. Woo! Yay. We have just jumped right into the 21st century. So the Facebook page is, I'll put a link below, but it's facebook.com/thefrugalcrafter, and it's a community for you to, share your artwork, meet with other like-minded crafty folks from around the world. And I just checked before we came on, and we have 350 likers, whatever, frugalistas, friends. Yes, friends. That's what they are on Facebook, aren't they? So.
Congratulations.
Yeah, so
I
excited.
look forward to it.
I decided last night that it was about time, because I had a lot of people ask how they could share their artwork. They've done, painted a picture after a tutorial and wanted to share it with me. And I love seeing that, but not everyone has a blog or a photo bucket or a Flickr account. So I'm like, well, most people are on Facebook and they can do that. So there you go, guys. And please feel free to comment on the Facebook page. If somebody asks a question, if you know the answer, help each other out. I'm on the computer maybe 3 times a day, so if you know what somebody's asking, go ahead and share and help, and just be nice and friendly, and everything will go very well, I think.
Smoothly, yes.
All right, I have a few comments. Marie has a comment for Kathy, and she wonders if you'll share your vegan pumpkin scone recipe. Sounds yummy. It is yummy. Kathy brought scones
I did actually bring them today, yes.
Very yummy.
And I'm still having problems replying. So Lindsay and I are going to take a look at that to see if we can figure it out. But I figured the best place to put it will probably be on Facebook, and I need to double check a few things and make sure I remember what I did, because I just made it up yesterday.
Made it up as she goes along.
But I will definitely put it on there.
Excellent.
And it got the approval of my husband, who is a die-hard meat eater, and said it was worthy of him. So.
Well, my husband called me this morning. Well, he called because him and a couple of coworkers were looking at the new Facebook page, and I have a picture of all those ink daubers that I made there. Yeah. And Jason goes, "Now, honey, there's 3 of us grown men sitting here looking at your Facebook page, wondering if those are flavored marshmallows." I'm like, "Honey, you know me. Have I ever flavored a marshmallow in my life? Like, they're ink blenders." He goes, "What do you do with those?" So I explained how to use those. But
too cute.
But then I said there was scones on the way, and he was very excited. So I was like, "There
and
it
I
is.
did bring enough for the family."
You're gonna save me one? Kathy's cooking. He likes your cooking. Yeah. He requests peanut butter balls.
Good. Yeah, that's on the list.
On the list.
List of requests.
Yes, you got a request list, and I got a request list. Lynn's Brewer left a great tip on my blog on Ask a Crafter last week, and also on the part 2 video on how to make your own marker spritzer pen. So it's using recycled materials, cheap to do, and if you want to make your own marker spritzer, not spend, $15 for one, then check that out. And Brent is looking for an unobtrusive color ink pad to use when stamping images to be watercolored. I use Stampin' Up! Basic Black, but they've changed the recipe, so it's not the same. The Stampin' Up! Black was very muted.
Right.
It's very, very dull, and it's perfect for watercoloring over because you don't really notice the lines that much. But a lot of people don't like that. They like the darker black, and I think that's why they changed it. So if you have a recommendation for a nice, soft, colored ink that you can use and then watercolor over, please leave the comment either on the Facebook page or right here under the video so Brent can find that out. And now we'll go to the regular questions.
Okay, we start with Genie D83. I'm looking for a die cutter that I can use digital cutting images and to create my own designs. Which one is the best?
All right. Well, I recently was in the situation to buy a die cutter for our local school, and I was between the Silhouette Cameo and the Eclipse. They had said we're going to buy a Cricut. I said, "Oh gosh, you don't want to do that because you're going to need more options than what Cricut can offer, and they're very proprietary. And you can't cut fonts. You can't cut." Your basic stuff. You're going to be always shelling out money. So I did some research, and I was between the Cameo, the Silhouette Cameo, and the Sizzix Eclipse. And I went with the Sizzix Eclipse because you can use a cartridge, and the cartridges aren't very expensive. They're like $25. You can use your computer fonts and SVG files, and you can convert your own images using it's eCuts-A-Lot software, or eCal for short, and you can buy that through Sizzix, or you can buy it right through Craft Edge, which is a wonderful company as well. And I was familiar with their software because I have it for my Cricut machine. You can't get it anymore for the Cricut machine, and that's really why I said don't go with Cricut, because you don't have that option. So for ease of use and having that that ability to use your fonts and everything, and it cuts very quickly, and it's easy to use. So,
but you don't have to go on the computer. And
you don't have
a
to use the
variety
computer.
of people
Right.
that were going to be using it with different skill levels or
Right.
skill sets for computer
Right.
technology. Yeah.
Right. But if you're like a scrapbooker or a card maker that isn't going to be cutting, like, you're not getting ready for a class of 25, 8-year-olds, and you don't need to cut like, 10 sheets of circles or whatever, you may prefer a silhouette because you can get more detail, I believe, with a silhouette machine. The blades are more expensive. They're $15 each as opposed to, $5 for a 2-pack on the Eclipse. But if
Those are the mats.
Right, but then again, if you're not cutting sheets and sheets and sheets of stuff every week, you're probably not going to dull a blade that quickly either. So it just depends on what kind of crafter you are and what you're going to use it for. For me personally, since I don't do very fussy, intricate stuff, I would tend to lean to the Eclipse just because I tend to cut a lot of stuff and I need it quick. And then there's a new machine out called the Brother Scan and Cut, which like you could stamp a sheet of images, like with whatever rubber stamps you have, load it into your Brother Scan and Cut, it will scan it, and then it will cut the outlines for you, and it's slick. If you go to createandcraft.tv, they demo that quite a few times, and you can see it in action, and that will give you more information than what I can tell you. The only thing is, you can use your SVG files with it. However, you have to go to the Brother website and you have to use their converter that's online. So you have to have an internet connection in order to use the SVG files you want. So, if you don't want to have to be connected to the internet in order to use SVG files, then I think you can convert them, put them on a memory stick, and then stick it in your machine. I don't think you have to, but you have to have that option to be able to get on the internet and do that. So those are the 3 machines. I would look further into the Brother Scan and Cut, the Sizzix Eclipse, and the Silhouette machine. Silhouette has several machines. The Cameo is the most popular, but they do a couple different sizes. Anything you want to add to that?
Well, just only if any of you folks out there own any of those and like know how long the blade lasts on the Silhouette or how much you can cut or just really familiar with the workings of them. I've seen the Brother, in person. Then put a shout out on Facebook and get a conversation going to help people like you all did with the printer for me. Thank you very much.
Yes, absolutely.
Lot of responses, a lot of information to go through, but all very helpful. So.
Absolutely, absolutely. And one other thing, those 3 machines that I mentioned, I also mentioned them because they're very popular, so you will find support. There are a lot of people using them, so you will be able to find tips and tricks and stuff. So.
Violet wants to know if you can substitute glossy photo paper for glossy cardstock.
You can for some techniques. You can, anytime you need really fine images, you can stamp on glossy photo paper. Some of the cheaper glossy photo papers, like from the dollar store, will behave like glossy cardstock. Glossy cardstock is designed for ink to dry quickly, whereas glossy photo paper is designed for ink to dry quickly, and glossy cardstock is designed for ink to dry slowly. So for like polished stone technique or brayer resist, you really want the glossy photo paper. Oh, good grief. You need the glossy cardstock for that. But like, I play around with glossy photo paper all the time because I have those 4x6 sheets that I can't fit in my printer anymore. The little tray doesn't take them anymore. It's great for stamping detail stuff and masking and mixed media techniques. But for like polished stone and ink resist, you want the glossy cardstock. And the best price I find is right at your local copy shop. You can buy them for about 25 cents a sheet, an 8.5 by 11 sheet.
Okay. And Sylvia Rivera, is parchment paper the same as vellum?
All right, so this is one of those things that has changed over the years. Originally, parchment paper refers to animal skin, a paper made from animal skin, where vellum specifically refers to paper that's made from calf skin. Nowadays, vellum is made from plastic, and parchment paper is made from plant fibers or actual paper. So you may find it uses baking parchment, and then you can go to the office supply store and buy parchment paper, which has a lovely color variation on it. So if like you were doing parchment craft, you might be able to use the baking parchment paper for that, but you'd be better off just buying a little packet of vellum, and you can get it pretty inexpensively. We were just talking about Joanne.
I just bought some to use for Valentine's because we were making little glass canning jars or giving that look, and they had it 50 sheets. It's like $1 a sheet, 8.5 by 11, or they had the little packet. 50 sheets for $9.99, and I used a 50% coupon.
Yeah,
so
and it goes on sale. Yeah, I buy that same time.
And it's, it's not the heaviest vellum you're going to find. It's in a package for $9.99, but it certainly worked for what we were doing. It was a great deal.
It's good stuff, and you can even print on it in your printer and get it out and sprinkle it with embossing powder really quick. And emboss on it.
Because it doesn't,
it'll stay wet.
Yeah, and I actually used some of the Martha Stewart edgers and tried it in that to see if they would cut and stuff, and it's beautiful.
Oh, excellent.
With a decorative edge. So.
Excellent. All right, what's next?
Mary Warner has some idea suggestion. I see lots of people using masking tape in the center of their art journals, but have heard other people wince at the thought. The wincers say masking tape deteriorates badly and is hard to remove once it breaks down. Can you help determine the truth? Also, the same question for washi tape. Seems it will lose its stick and we will be left with loose pages or peeling paint over loose tape. Thanks.
All right, well, I can't really talk on the washi tape because I haven't used it enough to see if it's really going to stick forever. Masking tape does become very brittle and it discolors your paper. Whether that's, if your art journal is archival or not, if that bothers you, then don't use it, because it will make your paper brittle. It will turn it yellow, and if you try to remove it, you'll be left with these little yellow spots on your paper, which is the adhesive that stayed.
The masking tape comes off quite easily, but
yeah,
the adhesive stays behind.
Yeah. So I mean, if you're concerned, if you want the look of that texture, try buffering over it, like paint over it with a paint like your underpage with like a coat of Mod Podge or some sort of sealer like that. Use your tape and your techniques, then paint over it again with Mod Podge or acrylic paint or whatever, so you make that buffer so you're not going to deteriorate anything but that page that the tape is on. So yes, it's acidic. Yes, it will break down your paper. I'm a framer, so I often finding things brought to me to frame that has had masking tape on it. It's awful stuff. But you know, artistically, if you're not worried about your journal being archival, then what the heck, go for it for fun. But yeah, just so you know what you're getting into.
And Elaine wants to know what gum arabic is used for.
Gum arabic is a binder for watercolor paint. It increases the gloss and transparency of your color. It also helps you get crisper lines. If you're painting on a soft paper, it will help you get nice crisper lines. Keeps your paint from feathering. You can mix it with Pearl-Ex and make your own metallic watercolors, or mix it with any sort of pigments and make your own watercolors. It's basically a binder and medium for watercolor. So,
Jill wants to know how she can fix her Versamark pad. She's gunked it up with a bunch of different color embossing powders, or at least I hope that's what it is. I already ordered a re-inker for it, but I'm not exactly sure how to clean it off before re-inking. Any ideas?
Well, don't worry, Jill, I did the same thing. When I was making my Pandora beads, I spilled UT all over mine. So what I did was I just went upstairs and I rinsed it off under the water. If all that, the powder should all just come right off, but if it doesn't, use a little baby shampoo. Baby shampoo contains glycerin and it's very mild, so clean it up, rinse it off. If the pad comes loose, you can restick it with a little original Gorilla Glue, or you can actually use crystal accents or glossy accents or crystal, what is that glue? Crystal something.
Crystal
Heidi Swappies is it? It's
Yeah.
that glaze, paper glazy stuff. I've only used Gorilla Glue for this, but some people have used the glossy accents. That's what it's called, glossy accents, to restick it, and then just re-ink it with your re-inker or pure glycerin, because you'll have enough water in that pad to just put glycerin on it. You're fine, nothing to worry about.
Masha from Russia. I noticed that if I use my ATG gun, everything dries out and falls off after about a year. Was it just a bad batch of glue, or is ATG is not permanent? I'm afraid to use it on any paper anymore because it doesn't work. Thank you so much for your great channel.
I have a feeling that you probably got a bad batch of glue, and what could have happened was it froze or it got too hot. Things like that can alter your adhesive. Maybe in Russia, maybe it was left out, maybe it was shipped to you, it was stored in an unheated garage. Yeah. You may want to, next time you order it, make sure you're ordering it in a temperate climate, like maybe late early fall or something like that, so you're not going to have that freezing of the adhesive. Or perhaps you're not pressing it onto the paper hard enough, so like when you, after you put your adhesive down, you lay your thing you're gluing onto your card or whatever, make sure you press that, so it needs contact to bond. It has a little bit of a pressure sensitiveness, so you want to make sure you push that to close it. If you bought it from a different company other than ATG, maybe that their glue's not so good, but I've only been using mine for a couple months and so far so good. Stuff stays stuck, so I think there might have been a climate change. You know, maybe you had it it got frozen, or maybe you glued something together and then stuck it up in an attic to store it, or out in the garage where it was cold, and then that made the adhesive lose its stick. So that's what I think. I haven't heard any other problems with the ATG gun, so I reckon it's probably some sort of environmental fluctuation.
Good. That's good to hear, because I just bought one. BJ Rolls is wondering if she should buy this really glittery paint at her local Poundland, the UK version of the dollar store. The colors are beautiful and the glitter paint is really glittery. Are they worth it?
Yeah, glittery? Sure, why not? Everything is so darn expensive overseas, so I think if you find glittery stuff for $1, you gotta get it. Glitter! I love glitter! Yeah, I'd say why not? Have some fun with it.
I have to say, I guess Lindsay, I assume Lindsay had some, but I found some here at the dollar store. It was this luminescent metallic paints and coppers and silvers and gold, but they also had some glitter paint, and I picked it up, and I find it to be quite wonderful.
Yeah, why not?
I've enjoyed it because it was $1. They paint and put it on whatever they want to put it on, and it's been great. So
great,
yeah.
Great. You have our approval. Go forth and shop.
Amber Douglas wants to know where you got the big covered watercolor palette.
Oh, right here. This, you can get this at any art supply store pretty much. Online, I would check out Jerry's Artorama, Cheap Joe's, or dickblick.com. And so it's a nice big covered palette. It's excellent. I've been painting on a palette similar to this since I was a child. This is the Jones palette. This should probably be under $20. There's also the Stephen Kohler palette, which is nice. It's a square, but the paint is arranged in a circle. Excuse me. So you can actually, so it's actually arranged like a color wheel, so that's kind of neat for, you know, when you're learning.
Especially for beginners, yeah.
Exactly. And there's a palette I really recommend. It's more expensive, but it's the John Pike palette, P-I-K-E. The plastic is thicker. I've had one for a long time, and it was secondhand to me, and it's not brittle at all. So if you want to spend a little bit more, the Pike palette is really worth it, because you're going to spend more on the paint that you're putting into it than the palette. So you might want to get a good one. That's in my travel box that I travel with, because I know it can get banged around in there all day long, and it's not gonna, the pellet's not gonna chip.
Yeah. Okay, Sue Cole and the Junk Junkie want to know what you use Yes Paste for, and if you use it straight from the jar.
I use it straight from the jar. I use a palette knife, which is one of these jobbies here, to scoop out a big glob of it. Then I usually put it on like mat board or book board, because I use it to cover books and to like cover boxes, things like that. And so I slap it onto there, and I just spread it around with an old credit card or a bigger spatula, and then I press my paper down to it, adjust it till it's just right, scrape over it with a clean credit card, cut the corners off, flip it over, glue the edges over, and I feel like I'm doing the Macarena. I'm doing that. And then, you know, you're good to go. And you have time to adjust and to squish out air bubbles if you need to. So yeah, I use the Yes Paste right from the jar, and that's what I do with it.
And that's the only thing you
pretty
use
much.
it for?
That's pretty much all I use it for. They say you can use it for gluing on thick embellishments, but it is a paste and not a glue, so it's all, just like the ATG gun we were talking about, it's going to always be it can always fluctuate with your environment.
Yeah.
So I don't want it to get really humid and then to get really cold and dry and have embellishments pop off.
Yep. Yeah. Okay. Marie, what is the tool you use to hold up your cards in photos? It looks like a circle with nails coming out of it, and the card stands up in it. What is it called, and where can you get them?
They're called flower frogs. You can get them at Joann's or probably any craft store in the floral decorating aisle for about $4.
Okay, Wallace Ruth. I'm starting to make cards, and I was wondering what I could put over them to keep them clean.
Clear envelopes, I get mine at papermart.com. I'll put a link below the video so you can find them. And that works great because you plop them in, you seal them shut, and the bags are also food safe. So if you are doing a party and you want to have little favor bags, you can use them for both things.
Okay, and I'm not sure how to pronounce this or say it, but it looks like Ars 11. She wants to start stamping, but I don't know what paper or what inks I should use, and what should I use to color the stamp with.
Okay, well, I talked to her a little bit. She is also a scrapbooker, and she likes a clean and simple style. So I recommend that she starts with a waterproof black ink pad. It's kind of like a Ranger Archival, because we know the Stampin' Up! One has changed. Also, watercolor markers such as Memento, the Tim Holtz Distress, or Stampin' Up! Because every one of those markers, the brush tip end, is like another stamp pad. So you can use that to color directly on your stamps and stamp. The other ends also have a hard, fine tip, plastic tip, so you can journal with that, so she can use it for her scrapbooking too. White cardstock, and I suggested a tin of watercolor pencils just to give her a little bit more of an option. And I'm sorry I have to cut this short. Please like us on Facebook. If you have any questions, leave them below for next week. And that's it for us today. Thanks for stopping by. Until next time, happy crafting.
Bye.